you have an unsorted. Let's start with. Let me give you a few details about this. So we will now start the interview. It is 3 past 7. We will have around 45 minutes. So it's what we would have around 12 to 8. We will go till 12 to 8, right? And then I will give you my feedback that what you did good, what can be improved, and stuff like that. Okay, cool. So let's start. So you are given an unsorted array,
Okay.
right? And it is an array of integers. Now, what you have to do is you have to return the longest consecutive elements sequence, right? So they do not necessarily need to be in the sequence, but they can be present anywhere in the array. Like we have it in here. If you check the first example, we have 100, 4, 200, 1, 3, 2. Right? So what we have to do here is that if you notice this particular array, we see that we have 1, we have 2, we have 3, and we have 4. So this is a consecutive sequence that is present in the array, and the length of the sequence is 4. Right? So the output would be 4 in this case. However, if you consider this array, here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? We have 10 elements in here. And if you see, we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? So here the length would be 9.
Okay. Uh, is it like I want to discuss multiple uploads, or should I like go with human one directly?
I'm sorry, Logesh, but your voice is not clear here. Clear.
Yeah. Should I like discuss multiple approaches here, or should I like start with an optimal approach? Which
Uh, Whatever flows your boat, I would say.
yeah. Okay. So first thing hits me is maybe I can sort this array and like check. Let's say if this array is sorted, it will be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 100, and 200. Let's say max consecutive will be initially 0.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Current consecutive, I mean, current maybe current position or something. Maybe for first element, current position will be, I mean, current element will be 1.
Uh, Sorry, can you repeat that again? You would be sorting this entire array, is it?
Yeah, I will be sorting this array.
Okay.
So then, like, I have to variables to monitor. One is max consecutive. Next one is current consecutive. I mean, whichever I am traversing, current consecutive.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
So current consecutive in the initial, it will be like one. Like I am considering one element as a consecutive element.
mm-hmm.
So I'm just starting from here. So current element is 1. So I just iterate to here. I see like 2. So it's 1 or greater than that.
Mm-hmm.
So I increment this here. Then I just iterate to the next element. Then I see. I actually update this also current to 2. I see like 3 is 1 greater than this. Then I increment this. Uh, then I just change the current element. Then I go here. I see it's greater than 1, so I uh, reach 4 here. Then I come here. When I reach here, this is not here. Okay. Here it will be 4, and here we have 100. So this is not like the difference is absolute different. It's not greater than 1 plus 1. So I'm just updating the max current as 4. and I am changing this to 1 again. Then current element as 100. I'm
Mm-hmm.
going here, then checking whether this difference is 1. I mean, yeah, it's greater than 1. So that is not true. So again, I'm checking whether max count is lesser than current count. If not, if it is lesser, I'm just updating that value. Here it's 1 and it's 4 here, so I'm not updating it. Then again, I will be like setting back to 1 here 200. Then once I have updated to all, I am just checking whether current consecutive is greater than max consecutive. I'm just updating it. Let's check whether it works for this example also. We don't have we have two zeros here. Is it like if we have two zeros, should we consider two zeros also, or is it like
So two zeros would not be a sequence, right?
so we will be considering from only this, right?
Yes, yes, right, right, right.
Yeah, okay. So I think then it will work. But what if just give me a minute? What if minus is there? I think still this will work. And one more thing, all numbers will be like integers, right?
Right, yes.
Okay. What do you think? Should we optimize further, or is it fine?
What is the time complexity? What would be the time complexity for the
So
solution?
for sorting, it will be like n log n plus iterating will have n. So n log n plus n.
So what would be its asymptotic complexity?
I didn't get it.
It's n log n plus n,
Yeah. It's n log n.
n log n plus n, or n log n? Which
N log
was
n. N log n.
okay. And what would be its space complexity?
For sorting, we won't need any extra space. We might use the same array. Maybe like we use only these three variables extra, and we use some variables for iteration and other things.
Mm-hmm.
There won't be much space we might be using extra.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So what would be its space complexity?
Just array of n. I mean, of n will be the space complexity. We are using the same array.
Okay. Can you just write down the time and space complexity for your current solution?
Yeah.
Thank you. So yeah, I mean, can we improve it?
Uh, yeah. Let me think. So, is there a way to achieve without sorting? Because sorting is the it's where we like take most of the time.
Mm-hmm. Okay. First, think if it is possible to improve it.
I don't think, but like can't move whether we have like a number before or something. I don't think it might be possible.
Okay. Why don't you implement your current solution, and let's see if we, while doing that, if we can think of.
Yeah. Should I write here itself, or should I use some code editor? Or something?
No, no, no. You have to write it here.
Yeah. Okay.
Make sure the code is production ready.
Yeah. Okay.
So input would be an array of integers, and output would be an integer. Never mind the capitalization.
Yeah. input would be array, right?
It is an array.
And size will also be passed, right?
We don't need to pass that size, do we? So we do not. We are not passing. Let's say we are not passing the size.
Okay, but I mean, if it's a vector or something, like we can use the size function. But for an array, we might need it. Right?
So yeah, let's say we are not passing the length of the array.
Okay. Uh,
You can remove that. That's the only input we get. The array. That's it.
uh, I'm not sure like how to get the size if it is in like pointer is passed here.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe size of still. Uh, will this work?
Uh,
Median is the size.
so are you going to implement this in C or in Java? What
Yeah,
is
I'm using C.
you're
C,
using
C.
C? Okay, fine. Okay, go ahead. So
Yeah,
why
yeah.
are we doing size of array upon size of int? Exactly.
Usually we used to pass size. If we use vector or something, there will be some size function which will return us the size value.
Mm-hmm.
But if n is not passed, I'm not sure whether this works. But like I'm thinking, like I'm taking the size of the array, which will in turn return how many bytes it takes, and like I'm just doing a size of int. So it's like size of the whole array, size of total bytes of the array divided by the size of a particular int. So I might get the size.
Particular int. So int is a data type here, right?
Yeah. So let's say for the particular architecture, it takes 4 bytes, and this is some 16 bytes. So 16 byte by 4 is like 4. This it has 4 integers.
Okay.
So I'm doing it, but I'm not sure like this usually works or not.
Never mind. Let's move forward.
Yeah, okay. So I'm like doing manual. So what if the array size is 0? Should we do something there? or that case won't occur.
Sorry.
What if this array size is 0? Should we return 0,
Uh,
or
uh,
it is like the array won't be like empty?
let's cover all these scenarios.
Yeah, I'm just checking. Is there a range for this number? It will start with
So let's say it can go for negative 10 raised to the power 9 to positive 10 raised to the power 9.
so this is how much time when we come.
Okay. Mhm.
Actually, I don't have to do it all the time. I can insert here. Whenever current element is like consecutive is changed, I can do this.
Right. Correct.
Then anyway, for the last item, let's say this is only these numbers are there. So
Right. So it would have failed for if the sequence,
yeah, so I have to check it again.
right? If the sequence expands in uh, at the last of it, right?
Yeah,
At towards the end of the array.
right. If the sequence is like from the start to till the end, it will fail. So I'm just adding it. Yeah, check here. Uh, Actually, I am like initially thought of starting with my minimum, which is minus 10 to the power 9. Then
Mhm.
I thought, like, what if the first element is after sorting, it's 10 to the power 9 minus 1. I mean plus 1. So I just made first element here and started the array with I 1.
Right.
So here it's already 1. So I am like checking here. Even if array contains only one element, checking this will not go inside this for loop. It comes here anyway. Checking it will be 1. So I'm returning. So I think this is pretty much it.
So can you explain again why did you put this if condition?
Yeah. Okay. So let's say the whole array is a consecutive sequence. What will happen with this code is I'm updating only when if the consecutive sequence is broke. So in this case, we won't get a such scenario like the consecutive. Like if we get an 100 here where the consecutive sequence is broke, right?
Mm.
So, I mean, in that case, we won't get that scenario. Like, if you see here, it will like keep on incrementing the this current consecutive, but it won't like go into this updation of max consecutive. So I'm just doing additional check here and there.
Let's spend a couple of minutes and do a dry run, right?
Yeah,
And see if you're comfortable with this with your implementation.
yeah.
Okay.
Uh,
Cool.
so I'm just taking this example.
Which example? The one.
Example one.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. So, initially, if you see current value would be what I'm doing is I'm just sorting the array. So now it becomes and so now like I will just have this variable max on will be 0, uh, and on will be 1, and current will be a of 0, which is 1 here in this case. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll come to the first element, which is 2. I'm just checking 2 is 1 less, I mean 2 minus 1 is whether it is equal to current. If it is current, I'm just updating this counter. So it is becomes 2. Next, so after that I'm updating current to 2. So current is now 2.
Mm-hmm.
Then what I'm doing is I'm going back again. I'm not doing anything after that. So now I come here again, checking current. Now when I'm checking like 2 is 2 equal to 3 minus 1, which is one less than I mean one greater than this. So I'm just updating this again. Then I'm just updating the current value here. So this becomes 3.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Then I can like I'm not doing anything below that. So I'm going here. Uh, point is here. So I'm just checking whether this is one greater than current value. It's one greater. So I'm just limiting the counter and updating the current. Then now current position is 100. So this condition fails here.
Mm-hmm.
So we come into the else and we are checking whether the max current is less than current consecutive. So we are just updating the value here to 4 and we are changing the current consecutive to 1.
Cool.
Then we are like changing the current value to whatever the current value, which is 100.
Cool. So let's jump to the second part of the question. Let's try to optimize it. Do you want to first revisit the time and space complexity of your solution? Do you still think it's n log n for time complexity and O of n for space complexity?
Yeah, I think. And
Cool. So you think it's still the same, right?
yeah,
Okay. So let's try to decrease the time complexity.
okay.
So
Uh,
how can we do that?
Maybe if this range is very short, we can go with count sort and like we can try, but as it is going to be minus
Yeah.
10 to the power 9 and plus 10 to the power 9, even that that rules out. Uh,
Right. Right.
Even if I do some priority queue or something, but still like I have to do an insertions and like again it will be like in log n only.
Could
I'm
you
not sure like
could you repeat that?
even if I use some priority queue of in heap or maxi here,
Yeah.
uh,
So
still like I think it will be like in log n. So
right.
I'm not sure like whether we can optimize it, but
So think about it in this way.
hmm,
Think about it in this way that so this part of your logic, right? You
hmm,
have to use this part of your logic. Just follow
yeah,
my cursor. If you click on the circle, the top right corner of the document window, it will navigate you to my cursor. Can you see it
yeah,
now?
yeah,
Cool.
yeah,
So this is the logic, this is the thing which is the main thing in your entire logic, right?
yeah,
So think if you can do something about it. So essentially what you're trying to do is you're trying to search in your list that whether there is an element which is maybe one greater than your element or one smaller than your element, right?
yeah,
So whatever element you're picking, if it's not sorted, you're essentially trying to look for if there is any element which is one larger or one smaller than your current element.
yeah.
So how would you do that? So
Okay,
if you try to do that in a list, you would have to the complexity was anyway increase. You would have to search the entire list every time you are trying to search for that. So it would essentially go somewhere around towards cubic complexity, right? But however, we have to check that how we can improve that.
what if we don't have to search all the elements? What if okay,
So what we have to do is, so I'm giving out a lot of information here.
hmm,
So point is how we can what we can do to make sure that we get we get to know that if there is any element in constant time. So that's the last hint which I can give you. So the last
Okay.
hint gives away the answer.
But even if we use a map here, maybe
Mhm.
I can like, start with one and just check whether there's a two, three, so on. But again, it will be n times.
Yeah, but how would you use map for this particular scenario?
That's why I can't use it. Like even if let's say I'm storing all these numbers in a map after sorting it. I mean, I don't even have to sort it. I can just store it in ordered map or something. Then maybe like I can just go through it. Still, like I would have to like iterate through all the elements. What if I use a binary source or something?
So, so if you understand the question right, I mean,
Hmm.
if you understand the hint, the challenge here is to get the consecutive element
Hmm.
in constant time. If we can do that, then
Hmm.
probably we can reduce the time complexity to some to some extent.
I'm not getting like
Pardon me?
I didn't get any idea. Like
So what are the data structures which gives us any which uh, by which we can say whether the element is present in that data structure or not in a constant time? What are the different data structures which can help us do
we
that?
can use a hash or
We can
yeah,
use the what?
hash hash
Ha-
map here.
Is there any other data structure which can be used?
By research, it can be, but still like it won't be instant.
So binary search is an algorithm that works on sorted data.
Yeah,
So,
I mean,
so
so maybe like we can, I don't know, like what else? As these are consecutive, what if I do an XOR? I do an XOR to this.
quick time check. We have about 10 to 11 minutes.
Okay. Like I'm not getting any approach.
Okay. Uh, so we still have 10 minutes. Let me switch to a very easy question. hopefully it will give you the idea what you could have done. So you are given a list of integers
Okay.
and a target sum.
Okay.
What you have to find out are the two integers inside that list or inside that array, which would give you that sum. So let's say we have end it here. We have our input array 5, 2, 9, 3, 4, right? And our target is 7. Right? Can you see my? Can you see what I'm typing?
Yeah, I'm seeing.
Cool. Right. So how would it be 7? So which two integers would give us 7? So it could be 5 comma
5
2,
and 2 and
or
3.
it could be 3 comma 4. Right? So either of the answers is fine.
Mm.
Okay. Now how would you solve it?
One basic proposed way is to like take one number and search for the other thing, but it is like n square. What we can do is, let's say I am just taking 5. I minus it with the target. I'm just checking whether it is already seen. So whatever the number I have seen already, I might put in hash table or something.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say initially I have not seen anything. So here, when I come here, I see 5. 5. I mean 7 minus 5 is 2. I will just check the hash table whether I have seen 2 already. So I'm just storing 5 in hash map and moving to next element. I come C2 here. So 7 minus 2 is 5. I just check whether I've seen already 2 there. I mean 5 here. Yeah, I have seen that. So I might like add it to the add tuple to the list.
Can you
Then
quickly implement it?
yeah, return should be entirely right. Either of one or it should be like all.
Just any of the answers is fine.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter which one. It's just that it should be the correct answer. Can you do it without math?
If you want to search some number like an unsorted array, it takes like n square time. I mean linear time will be n.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it is sorted also, doing the binary search will be on.
Cannot do binary search for this.
Yeah.
So you cannot use a map. How would you do it?
there a limit for this number? Like starts with some.
Pardon?
Is it like what is the condition of this array? Like it's like minus 10 to the power 9 to plus 10 to the power 9, or
Yeah, it remains.
subsets? Uh, I couldn't think of any solution of it.
Okay, no problem. We are anyway. We have just 3 minutes left on the clock. So, do you have any questions or
Yeah, I would like to, I mean, get feedback from like right to you.
sorry, Lokesh, I could not hear you.
Yeah, I would like hear a feedback on this.
Okay. Okay, so we'll stop the interview here and we'll start with the feedback. Okay.
Yeah.
So, first things first, what I liked uh, in your solution is that you were quite quick with the first approach and you were able to code it well, right? And you were able to write the code without any errors. That was cool. Right? So I did not see any errors here. I mean, any bugs in your code, so that's really good. Another thing which I liked about your code is that you used good variable names. Uh, so for size you used n, but I guess that's fine. You can use that for one or two variables. That's not a red flag for me. So that is the good part of your solution, and you coded your first solution in about 20 minutes, and then we took around 2 to 3 minutes for the first dry run. So that was pretty good. That is what I was expecting. Okay. So now, what could have been improved, right? So the first thing which I think is while you were trying to get the size of the array here, if you just follow my cursor again, you will find out where I'm pointing.
Yeah.
This part, I think this is not correct. Okay, although you mentioned that you do not remember the syntax correctly, but then I would expect someone who codes in C++. I'm assuming you code in C and C++, right?
Yeah.
So you are hands-on with this language.
Yes. Yes.
So I would expect you to know this. I mean, I'm not an expert. I mean, I don't know C, C++, but as far as I can remember, this is wrong. This part is wrong. It should. So the two options which could, the two ways which I know is of getting size is, I think. One is you could have done this, right? Or you could have done this. Now, this particular thing would have failed if the array is empty. However, this might have worked, right?
Okay.
So this part, this part, I think you should have correct. You should have made it correct because the only reason I think it should have been correct is because you have been coding with this language for enough time to know how you should attempt it. Okay.
So I actually thought visually doing an MLOp was doing the dynamic calculation. We use size of, then we use the data structure, whatever it is, like user defined or I mean available data structures.
So
So I thought like
you are saying this is a valid syntax, is it?
this. I thought this might be a valid one, but like yeah, this is like pretty much yeah, this would do easily. Like if even I'm not sure, like I would have like done in this way better. Yeah.
Okay, just search it on internet, right? Because even I am not sure. I'm not proficient with C++. plus plus.
Yeah, okay. I will just search
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
So this may or may not be one of the negative points. Okay, just
Mm.
uh, do your research and you would get to know. Because here we are not here to decide whether you have done a good interview or not. Here we are to find out what can be improved and what you're doing good.
Okay.
Right. Another thing which I think could have been improved is the communication part while you are implementing your solution. I would say, I was hearing, I was getting a lot of silence while you were implementing your solution. So that's fine.
Okay.
I mean, it's not a red flag, but again, I would like to hear more from you, right? So that what happens is if you're silent for most of the part,
Mm-hmm.
the the interviewer may even lose you,
Okay.
right? They may, I mean, they should not, but they may,
Mm.
right? So
Yeah.
keep that connection going on,
Okay.
right? So keep talking to the other person.
Okay.
Okay? Otherwise, this solution is pretty flawless. However, the next thing you could have, so for optimization, I mean, even if you couldn't have solved it, it would have been uh, okay-ish with me. But then the thing which struck me was that you couldn't uh, you should have been able to uh, identify the data structure,
Okay.
right? And the data structure was hash set, or for C++, I guess that is an ordered set,
Yeah.
right? So even with unordered set, the retrieval of a particular element is O of 1. It's constant time,
Mm. Yeah.
right? Or if I mean, if we go around saying that, okay, I mean, it could have been a log of n, but then let us assume that it is constant time for now, right? So I was expecting to get that answer from you,
Okay.
right? And well, that was a red flag for me that you should have known that data structure. So you were close enough. You used map. You said that we can use a map, right? But the point is, you should have said. I mean, I was trying to direct you that towards hash set or unordered set, but I wasn't able to. Right? So there are two things here,
Mm.
right? The reason I think you were not. I mean, it's not like you don't know about the data structure. You certainly know about it, right?
Yeah.
So
It didn't strike during that time.
you didn't. It didn't strike you, right? So
Yeah.
one of the reasons I think that it did not strike you was because you weren't flexible enough. It's my assumption. Just correct me if I'm wrong. When I say you weren't flexible enough, what I exactly mean is you were thinking about a solution in your own mind, right? And while I was speaking, I was kind of interrupting that flow of thought. Okay, and while I was interrupting that flow of thought, you couldn't pay more attention to me, right? Neither could you think. You could decide upon a solution which was running by your mind, right? So what I would say is, it is important to listen to the interviewer sometimes, because they would certainly check that uh, how you can, if they ask you to change your way of solving the question, how quick you can change it,
Okay.
right? The agility part,
Yeah. Okay.
right? You should be agile enough to, pick up what your interviewer is trying to say and follow their lead, right? So
Yeah.
that's the second part which I would say didn't go right with this interview. Even in the second part of the question, if you again follow my cursor, right? The only reason I gave you, so this question wasn't planned, to be honest, but the only reason I gave you this question was if it strikes you,
Yeah.
because this question can again be solved with an unordered set,
Yeah.
right? So say if you go to 5, there is nothing. We do not have a 2 in here, so we do not have a 5 in here, so we save 5. Then we go to 2. 2 minus 7 is, sorry. Yeah, 2 minus 7. 7 minus 2 is 5. So we have a 5 in there? Yes, we have a 5. So the tuple is 2 and 5.
Yeah.
Right? We did not need a map,
Yeah.
right? So it could have been very well done with the hash set.
Yeah.
Unordered set for C++.
Yeah.
Another small, a very small comment here would have been this function. Again, follow my cursor, please.
Yeah. Okay.
You, so this function is used twice. You could have rather made a helper function,
Yeah.
say max. So I think that would have been better. I mean, it shows that uh, you try to make your code modular.
Okay.
I mean, it doesn't matter when you're solving questions independently and you're trying to just get to your solution, but it does matter when you're in an interview setup because they would see how you write your code.
Okay.
So, I mean, space and time complexity are important, but again, we need to see how modular your code is or how well written your code is. And your code is, I would say, pretty well written here. But yeah, this is a small comment which would have been a good addition to this entire thing.
Yeah. Yeah. It would be like, yeah. It would like, it will be easily understandable also, like.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing about easily understandable in it. The only thing which reflects here is that, I mean, uh,
uh,
like in C we have .h files, right? I do not know what they are called.
yeah.
Uh, so we have, I guess they are called header files. So whatever they are called, so you have all the helper classes, I guess. So you have
Yeah.
all your utility methods there, isn't it?
Mm.
So
Yeah.
wherever you see that any method is used twice or more than twice, you try to put that in a helper class.
Mm.
So this is the same thing, right? So we are checking the same thing in here, that how modular or how reusable you can make your code.
Yeah.
Right? So this thing, I mean, they might not be checking it explicitly, but then if you do that, that's, I mean, that's something which reflects by your code. And if you do not do that, if you duplicate it, right? I mean, it doesn't reflect bad, but then it does reflect that you were not thinking in that way as well. Right? If you're thinking, it's good. If you're not thinking, it's not that bad. It's almost fine, right?
Yeah.
Cool. So that's all I have as a feedback for you. So, do you have any questions? Do you have any feedback for me?
First of all, I would like to thank you for conducting this mock interview. Uh, yeah, we like started practicing a couple of weeks back, on, but then I saw your LinkedIn post and like I thought like it would be like very helpful if I get some mock interviews. Yeah, I think feedback helps. Uh, Thanks for that.
Cool, cool.
And you would like to suggest any like practice material or something?
Uh, I mean, practice material for what?
I mean, DSL do and system design. I mean, have not started system design questions yet, and I'm from some Linux application backend, so I don't have that much scale in scale out opportunities. So even
I think if you know Linux in and out, half of your system design problems are done. Honestly, if you just study the architecture of Linux, right? I mean, I think half of your system design problems will be solved. So I would say for system design, read read the architecture of Linux.
okay.
Uh,
And for DS
and
and go practice, any suggestions?
so let's complete the system design part since I already started it.
Yeah, okay.
Right. So system design. What I think about system design is it's an incremental journey. You cannot study system design for an interview. You practice system design for an interview, right? But you can not study in a month or two or in a quarter. That's my opinion. So system design is mostly an incremental thing which you learn throughout your career, right?
Yeah,
So, I mean, my philosophy for system design is nothing needs to scale for a billion users. Not everything needs to scale for a billion users or even for 100 million users,
mm,
right? So there can be small systems which we need to design, but what we have to see is how scalable they are and if they can scale to 100 million or a billion users. And if they can, how will they scale, right? That is my philosophy behind system design. And what you need to do for that is read blogs, read articles, watch tech talks, right? Read. There are a lot of books out there uh, about system design, right? And I discussed about it in length. I mean, in one of my videos as well. So there were a lot of questions on LinkedIn about this, and I tried to do a live session with few folks. I'll share that. I'll share the link with you, right? So you can. I shared a lot of material there. Some of the materials which I used and some of the materials I got online. I'll share the link. I do not remember all the sources, but yeah. So the next thing about DSA is I would say pick a book, complete it, right? And also try to pick any platform and just solve questions, right? Pick any of their tracks and just start solving it and keep solving it. There is no what I should say. There is no magical way that you can do it, or there is no particular way that you would want to do it, right? There is no roadmap for it,
yeah,
right? Every person has a different way of doing it, right? The way I did it might not be feasible for you. The way you do it, maybe it's not feasible for me, right?
yeah.
So just start doing it, and you would realize that you know how you would do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So one more question, if you don't mind. So like, how far I am like from clearing an interview? Like, let's say,
Sorry, could you say that again?
so let's. I just want to know like how far I'm like from clearing an interview.
how far you are from clearing an interview, I would say you would need a bit more practice.
Okay.
Okay. Uh, so point is, so like we discussed, right? So I did not choose a difficult question, right? But we can, I mean, we can test that sometime few months later. So what I would say is make sure that you practice a bit more.
Okay.
And honestly, I cannot judge you on one question whether you're ready or not. It totally depends upon you. Okay? But what I the vibe I get from this one question is that you're there, right? You have practiced well, but I would say that do a bit of more practice, right? So
Okay.
things come naturally to you, right?
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Model, right?
Anything else?
Uh, I think those are my questions, and we have covered it all.
Cool, cool. Have a nice evening. See ya.
Yeah. You too. Like, thanks, and really very thanks for the interview. Yeah. Bye.
No worries, no worries. Thank you. Bye.